tell them you're here for questions.
Anyway, I'm sitting here now in front of my fireplace, one of my favorite places in my house. And if you have any questions now, we are ready to answer them.
All right, so the first question is, what was it like to move to America when you were so young?
I think that the only thing that I could think of was to get to America. To me, I didn't care about what it meant. I mean, I remember going to London to the Mr. Universe competition, to the second Mr. Universe competition, which I won. So now I was 2 times Mr. Universe, amateur Mr. Universe, professional Mr. Universe. And all of a sudden I got a telegram from Joe Weider, who's the publisher of the muscle magazines. And Joe Weider said, I just heard that you won the second Mr. Universe competition. I want to invite you to America. I want you to come here and train with the champions, train at Gold's Gym, live on Muscle Beach, have a great time, train, and educate yourself and be part of our team. I said to myself, wow, I'm going to America. So I went to the embassy, to the American embassy. We waited for a few days to get the visa, came over to America, and competed in America at the Mr. Universe competition. And I was so happy that finally I was on American soil. I was on American ground. And I then moved out here to California, I remember, applied for my visa, for my permanent residence visa and all that stuff, which took 10 years to get. But I tell you, it was the greatest feeling. I only came with a gym bag. I only had a few dollars in my pocket. But none of that mattered because where I was going, my vision to become the greatest bodybuilder of all times, then to go into movies and to become a leading man, and to make millions of dollars, and to be in America, the greatest country in the world, to me that was everything.
What was the hardest adjustment for you when you moved to America?
Well, first of all, imagine that you come here and you cannot understand the news. You cannot read the paper because you don't understand the words. I knew a little bit of English, like my name is Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I come from Munich, is Munich, yeah, Munich, and Graz, oh yeah, Austria. And so this is the way I talk. This is all I could. So now I come over here and people want to talk to me and they say, so how are you training? And blah, 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 blah. You know, then I'm doing this sets, and then I'm doing the split routine. But I didn't understand what the hell they were saying. So imagine that. So now I had to kind of figure out how to communicate, figure out, how to get a place where you can live. And luckily, being part of the family, of the bodybuilding family, to be in a gymnasium, to go there every day, to talk to people, English, over and over and over. And then to have people help me move into my apartment, get me silverware, get me plates, get me a black and white TV set, get me a blanket, get me bed sheets, get me all of this stuff, towels, everything. They came to my apartment and gave me everything. This is when I realized how generous the American people are and how much they helped me and how much they embraced me with open arms to come to America here and to make me feel welcome. So to me, the beginning was very tough, but I also at the same time saw the kindness and the generosity of the American people, and that made it then, of course, much easier.
Do you think that your life is the epitome of the American dream?
I think my life is the epitome of the American dream. I think this is like, you can't look for a better example. To come here with absolutely nothing. But when I say absolutely nothing, that means absolutely nothing in my gym bag, some sweaty clothes, and no money, and no belongings, but full of dreams, and full of fire in my belly. I mean, I was so eager to get going and to educate myself, to go to university, to study English and to learn about business and to get a degree and to become a bodybuilding champion and to work hard and to take acting lessons and to win all the championships. I mean, it was like such a wonderful time with so many. I was so ambitious.
What's your favorite chest exercise, to change it up a little bit?
Well, my favorite chest exercise is of course bench press. I did a lot of bench press. And even when I was competing in powerlifting, I did a lot of bench press. And bench press is kind of one of the most basic exercises, but not exclusive. I mean, you got to do also incline press because you got to develop the lower pec, you got to develop the medium and then the upper pec. You got to do flies that develop the outer pec. You got to go and do also the cable crosses that develop the center back. You got to do the dips to really get cut in the lower part. So all of those kind of exercises are very important, and never forget to do a lot of pullovers. Pullovers, because you got to get the rib cage. The rib cage has to expand, especially when you're younger. It still has a chance to expand and to get bigger. So this is kind of, well, maybe I just gave away my whole chest routine. Wait a minute. Send in another $25.
And how did you build your biceps?
Well, first of all, I think when it comes to, having potential and talent, we all have genetically certain advantages, but also certain disadvantages. There's no one that ever was born with the perfect body. Everyone has vulnerabilities and everyone has strength. And I remember when it goes to strength, bicep was one of my strengths. And my bicep developed quickly, my chest developed quickly. I also got an unbelievably strong lower back so that I could deadlift. At the age of 19, I was already deadlifting 600 pounds. And then eventually I deadlifted 710 pounds. So that's unusual for a guy that is a bodybuilder and that is not really a powerlifter, even though I did a lot of powerlifting championships and won a bunch of them, but was not really my forte. My forte was being a bodybuilding champion, really. So I think that the key thing is that when you train then, that you train less your strong points and more your weak points. And this is where the mistake comes. Or when they have a big chest, all they do is bench press, bench press, but they have that already. Don't continue doing that. Work on your weak points more than on your strong points.
Who's someone you look up to?
Well, it depends when. I mean, I remember when I started out working out, I looked up to Reg Park. Reg Park was like a Mr. Universe 3 times. He was in movies. I saw him on the big screen in the Hercules movies. So I read everything about Reg Park. Everything I could get my hands onto. I wanted to know exactly how he does he train his bicep? How does he train his back? How does he eat? What kind of a diet does he follow? What are the first competitions he ended? Because I wanted to start the same career. What are competitions that he won first? And the combination of him being a power lifter, weightlifter, and a bodybuilder was very appealing to me. So I did exactly the same thing. So he was the guy I looked up to. But then later on, Joe Weider was one of the guys I looked up to because he was like a great business guy and he made so much money from bodybuilding and from fitness and from all of those things, and he was such a great art collector and he was so good with international business and all that stuff. But then as time went on, it was Ronald Reagan that I looked up to, Nelson Mandela I looked up to, Muhammad Ali that I looked up to, George Shultz, our Secretary of State, who is a very good friend, Warren Buffett, Gorbachev. I mean, there's a lot of people that I looked up to and they became kind of my idols in many different ways. That they inspired me, and I think that we all need inspiration all the time, and this is why I always believe in reading about people's lives and seeing documentaries about people's lives, and so because it is very inspirational. There's so many great people out there, if it's in sports, if it's in bodybuilding, if it's in politics, if it's in business, if it's even in science, in all these different areas.
Are you a total vegan now?
No, I don't think that I ever will be a total vegan. I stress to eat less meat, but not to eat no meat. I eat meat much less than I ever did before. I eat maybe 2 times a week meat. I eat chicken, I eat fish, I eat much more fish products than I ever did before, and green. I mean, I love vegetables and salads and all this. I think it's very healthy for our body. And I think when you get older, especially, you have to cut down on all of those things. And then also from an environmental point of view, we know that raising livestock it creates 28% of our greenhouse gases in the world. So if you're into any of that, then it means a lot to you to go and cut down, because we have to reduce our greenhouse gases, because we are killing 7 million people a year because of our pollution. We can do better than that, and each and every one of us has the power to cut down on the consumption of meat eating, or if it is driving cars that use a lot of gasoline. We got to get off fossil fuels. We got to get into renewable and all those kind of things. So I'm into that. You don't have to be into that. I just think that we all should work together to reduce our pollution, because we kill less people, and I think this is a very important issue.
What's your best advice for a film school student?
Well, it depends what your goal is. I mean, I need a little more information, because there's a lot of, my kids all went to film school and they took film classes and all that stuff, but they're different goals. One of my kids wants to be a businessman, the other one wants to be an actor. So people go to film school. When I meet them at USC or other film schools, they talk to me about they want to be a producer, they want to be a filmmaker, they want to be a director, they want to be an actor, they want to be a writer in movies and all. So there's so many different professions, set decorators and all this stuff. So it depends what your goal is.
All right, let's wrap it up.
But one thing you should remember, never give up. No matter how tough it gets, never ever give up, and don't listen to the naysayers. Because man, I had them my entire life. And they said, you will never be Mr. Universe, Arnold. You will never get to America. You will never become a leading man. You will never become governor. Always, I mean, the never, 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 and it will not happen. And no, no, no. I mean, I was sick and tired of listening to that. Eventually, I just said to myself, I got to make all the no's a yes. That's exactly what I did. Whenever I said it can't happen, I heard it can happen, and I moved forward. And luckily, I didn't listen to those naysayers because they were wrong, and I was right. And the same is with you. You're right. You will make it.
You have quite a few requests to say some of your favorite movie lines.
Oh, I bet. Anyway,
Get to the chopper.
I think
A lot of people.
get to the chopper. Hasta la vista, baby. And of course, America, lift again.